Hello. Imagine if you had wartime tech that would allow you to catch spies, manage checkpoints, and help you identify dead bodies. Wouldn't you want that? Especially if your country faced an existential threat. You would wish all the advantages stacked on your side, right? Assuming that this article from the CNBC website can be believed, then that is precisely what Ukraine is doing. They have free access to the Clearview AI facial recognition tools. I am not about to tell you what the Ukrainian government should or should not do. From their perspective, they already use tanks, missiles, drones, and much more in terms of lethal weapons. But of course, they would want to stop spies and saboteurs. It seems pretty obvious, right? If you were the president, you would wish to have the Assassin's Court well before they could threaten you. Before you make up your mind, I will ask you to suspend your judgment on the rights and wrongs of this particular usage example. Let's explore the subject a little bit more in depth. I promise you, Pandora's box. Let's get going. Before we crack on with the content, I just want to quickly say we are passionate about this stuff. Please like and share so that others may too discover this content. We create materials around education, technology, AI, business, social issues and futurism. Join, subscribe, follow us. Let's now crack on with this video. If your back is against a wall, any technology that will weed out your opponents who want to harm you will be a compelling draw. I need to declare what side I am on. Having worked in tech for a long time, I am skeptical that IT systems will deliver on their promises. I get it. I understand why the Ukrainian government want to use this tech. I want to cover three broad areas. 1. Facial recognition systems do not operate in isolation. 2. How facial recognition systems can be open to errors. And finally, 3. A cautionary tale from Afghanistan. Our first item. Facial recognition systems do not work in isolation. You need to use them somehow. An obvious way would be to match a person's face to a passport. If you have a match, you let that person through. Another way is to have a watch list. You compile a list of persons of interest and then set up your cameras to work in real time. When there is a match, an alert is generated. You then stop the person for further questioning. You have now entered a world full of problems. Let me explain. Who creates the list? How do they get their information to create the list? How up to date is that list? What are your security arrangements to prevent tampering, data corruption, hacking, encryption, and the list could go on. For example, backups, and where is the data stored? You now are into a fully blown IT project, delivery and privacy concerns. Either you need to do all the work or your partner will have to, as in this case, we are talking about Clearview AI. How do they know who needs to be on your watch list? How do you get someone taken off? What if there's a mistake and you have the wrong person on the list? If I were your enemy, I would want to corrupt your lists, remove people that help me, and confuse you by adding people. In short, this is an absolute headache. Now try running a project like this under war conditions. You can find literature from facial recognition vendors that claim impressive accuracy when their systems are tested for face matching. For example, some claim their systems are so good that their error rates are less than 1%. In 2020, one system showed a rate of 0.08%. That is amazing, right? But in the real world, lighting, shadows, obstructions, and trivial matters, such as aging, can negatively impact accuracy. Some systems can produce error rates as bad as 60% in challenging environments. In a war scenario, what is more likely? A pristine lab-like environment or chaotic conditions? Let's not forget that live facial recognition is not the only source for image matching. CCTV tapes or even drone footage might be used. In these cases, image quality is unlikely to be the best. If we use these systems, we have to factor in that we might be pulling out the wrong people for interrogation or accusing them of carrying out acts against the state. In war, can we guarantee against mistakes and consequent injustice? Lots of headaches here. Our new tech systems could breed mistrust through false allegations and ultimately hinder us. Before we end our point on accuracy, I want to draw your attention to hacking. Yes, we could have our watch list hacked, but there are more sinister compromises that can be difficult to stop. Adversarial attacks can fool our systems. Here's a good example. Imagine we have two people, A and B. The facial recognition system can be tricked through image manipulation to skew results. Humans might recognize correctly person A as person A. However, the computer system would see A and identify them as person B. In this scenario, your accuracy rates count for nothing, and we are cleverly fooling the AI recognition systems to produce the wrong names deliberately. Suddenly, we would lose confidence in our system. Let's move on to our final point, a real-life cautionary tale. We could argue that we have the best developers and therefore our IT systems will be bulletproof to deal with what we face. We could also state that we will only use our facial recognition systems under ideal conditions to deal with accuracy. So you could make a strong argument in that direction. But Paul, you're being too negative. We can handle all those tech issues. We can get the right people to do the right things. So where's the problem? Now, let's talk about a recent Afghan story of biometrics gone wrong. Afghanistan moved from war to a state-building process. Systems were created for various agencies, such as the police, the business department, and many others. However, they were faced with ghost soldiers. That is to say, non-existent people claiming wages and state services. To counter this, it was decided to collect biometric information, how people were related, who the tribal leaders were, and more. Around 40 pieces of information were collected on each person, even things like their favourite fruit. So far so good. We have collected lots of information about Afghans and cities and remote areas. Now the story takes a turn for the worse. If you remember, the Afghan government collapsed very quickly and the Taliban took over instantly. Guess who is now in charge of the biometric and personal data systems? Lists were printed off and passed around, and the Taliban hunted down the people they did not like. Read the story if you wish. Here is the link. The Taliban set up kill squads. Now think of all that data, where you came from, your tribal elders, etc. What choice did you have apart from going on the run? Nasty stuff. What can we learn and take away from this video? Yes, of course, the urgent need to beef up security seems obvious, especially if your president has already survived multiple assassination attempts. But there is a cost. First, you need to follow all good governance and IT best practices. You need to worry about privacy and cybersecurity. Remember, you're up against a nation reputed for its hackers, and you will suffer the consequences if you have not done your homework. Second, the accuracy of your facial recognition system could lead to injustices, and you might harm your population. Your winning hand is precisely the unity of your people in a shared struggle. There could be a heavy price to pay if you insensitively lose support through the injustice of false accusations and bad treatment of your people. Finally, what could happen if you repeated the Afghan experience? Your enemy could be in charge of your systems and hunting you down. How awful would that be? Yes, a repeat example of an Afghan-type takeover would be a disaster. Imagine your biometrics being used against you. Struth. However, the main headline issue masks something else. Mission creep. Systems introduced to solve one problem could be expanded to address other issues. In the Afghan case, dealing with ghost soldiers led to other ID requirements, such as business formation procedures and other state functions. As you can see, there are plenty of risks and costs that go beyond the notion of using a simple facial recognition system. The moral of the story? Be careful about what you wish for. I hope you found this video of interest. Please comment, like and share. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you for watching.